guys, now I'd like you to try and do now is to think about how we can create a high quality practice. How can we do a high quality practice when we're practicing? Well, I think one of the first things that I said that absolutely has to be done, no exceptions, is that you stand when you sing. Singers are expected to stand, so to do anything else, it puts you at a disadvantage, because we were saying about the idea behind it is to replicate the performance situation. It helps you with feeling less anxious and less nervous if you can try and copy the environment that you might find yourself in at some point, whether that's singing in front of other people on a stage or whatever your ambition is, stand every single time. So what we're trying to do is, like, for high quality practice, it's all about engaging your thoughts as you practice. What I see far too often, guys, is that you'll find a song, maybe people find a song on Spotify and they like the song and they'll play it, and they're maybe doing the dishes or something like that as they're singing along, and they have the song on repeat. For maybe the very first kind of part of learning a song, I would say that's all right, because it's all just helping you learn the melody and stuff. But that's a tiny fraction of what you should be doing when you're properly practicing. Once you think that you've got the kind of lay of the land of the song, now it's time to kind of isolate parts of it. And I know that not everyone out there can read sheet music and things like that. But it's good if you can find things where you can sing along with the song and do it like at a slower speed or something. Once you know the melody really well, it becomes easier to work out how to do it really slowly and stuff. So I would say, guys, if you're going to try and isolate your song, what are you looking for? What are you looking out for? Like, first of all, look for difficult words to sing. I think that's something that's kind of often overlooked. Singing in English is difficult. Sometimes singing in Italian is a lot easier than singing in English. And that's because they don't have some of these difficult words that we call diphthongs. Say for instance the word I, that's a diphthong, and diphthong is a word that's got one or more vowels right beside each other. So if I'm saying that really slowly, you can hear it more pronounced. I. You've got an A and an E right beside each other there. Words like that are diphthongs, they're the enemy of the singer. They're difficult to sing. So your approach for, like, finding high quality practice and stuff is to find bits. I would say diphthongs are probably the number one enemy of the singer. So if you've got sheet music or you've got lyrics or something like that, I want you to circle these words. These are the difficult words. So we have to isolate these and we have to practice them slowly. Next things to think of, other difficult words that they're difficult in terms of what it makes your mouth do. Your mouth has to come down to pronounce them. So words that have a W at the front, or have that W sound, I should be more specific, because even say the word number one, that's a W sound, your lips have to come down to make the shape to pronounce the word. Anytime that your lips want to come down and become small, that's when they want to stay there and stay small. And having a small mouth is not good when you're a singer. It makes things a whole lot difficult. So where, when, why, what, the number one, look out for words like that. So other things to look out for as well is these big and difficult intervals. So if there's any parts in the melody where you have big jumps, and something that's often overlooked, everyone, is jumps between intervals, but like from the end of one phrase and the start of the other one. So for instance, it was actually a song that I was practicing today. It's a Lady Antebellum one, and there's a bit where it goes, oh no, it's quite a big jump, and there's even ones that are big higher. There's the one that goes, oh no, that's like over an octave. We have to kind of almost have different modes when we're singing and when we're analysing, guys. This is what I would call desk work. And though, to be fair, if you're doing particular parts of it, I wouldn't mind you sitting down for some of it. But actually, if you're actually singing anything, you should be standing up. So for desk work, it's important to isolate these different parts of a song, the difficult parts. And for that, sometimes you have to think in different ways. You have to think horizontally and vertically. Horizontally in terms of, what am I doing with my vowels? Is there any difficult words in there that are making it difficult for my vowels to flow easily, whether that's like diphthongs or difficult words or something like that. But we also have to think about what's happening vertically in terms of what we're doing with our notes. So like what's happening is they're big chunks and stuff. If you get too fixated on the horizontal parts of the phrases, then you're going to miss out. Like one phrase is finished and another phrase is started, but it's a lot lower or it's a lot higher. You're going to miss out on that almost, I guess I would call, negative space from the end of the last note of one phrase being low, start of the new phrase being high, and suddenly you don't realize you've got a jump over an octave you need to tackle. So things like that, look out for very big intervals, and have a keen eye out for the end of phrases and the start of a new phrase, because that's sometimes where people often overlook difficult passages. Another thing to look out for, everyone, is to think about your breathing. And now we've established what good breathing is, we need to think about how we're kind of creating a strategy for our breathing. For this, a good example for that actually is that song that I mentioned before, Rolling in the Deep by Adele. Because some people get into the chorus section and sometimes they feel out of breath, like they don't have a chance to take a breath and stuff. Well, sometimes when you sing, it's all about pacing yourself, and you take breaths on parts of the song that you might feel like pretty okay, that you don't necessarily need to feel like you need to take a breath. But what you're doing is actually topping up with air and keeping yourself like relaxed and under control, so you can tackle the difficult bit like at the end of the song, whether that's in the chorus or something like that. So it's developing a strategy to help with your breathing in order to tackle these difficult phrases, because it's a lot more difficult to tackle something when you've got hardly any air than it is if you feel like you've just taken lots of breath earlier on, so you've been topping up. I sometimes say to people, like, imagine if you were going to go on a car journey down across the UK before you head off. That's a good, 400 or 500 miles or something like that. If you saw that your car tank, petrol tank, was almost empty, chances are you're probably going to fill up before you head off on your journey. It's kind of a similar thing that's happening here with the breathing, guys, that you're topping up so that you've got the fuel that you need to tackle these difficult parts. So that's the thing about it. When things are difficult, it takes more concentration and more focus. It's more draining, and if you're singing it, you'll need more air. So sometimes it is like taking a breath when you don't really feel that you need it, as long as it doesn't interrupt the flow of the phrases. You have to be clear about that. It's only when you're taking wee gaps in the song that like you're not singing anyway, so that's like pauses or just this silence and things. Top it up so that you've got enough breath for these difficult passages. I'll give you some other examples of what high quality practice looks like. I actually mentioned it, I think, in my blog post as well. At university, I remember one of my friends said he practiced like 2 bars of music with his tutor for 2 hours. This is how specific it can be, that you can look at a tiny part of the music, but that's warranted. It warrants that focus if it is a really difficult part of the music, and it can be difficult for a myriad of lots of different reasons. But we're deconstructing it, but then when we build it back up, incorporating it back into the song, it'll be a lot easier for you. The thing is about like high quality practice, guys, is that you're always thinking about strategies about how you can tackle the difficult bits. If you're kind of doing some kind of activity and washing the dishes while you've got the song on repeat, and you sing it a dozen times, your voice is probably not going to ever improve, but that's because you're not being mindful about what you're doing. You're not analysing, listening, adjusting, and adapting. That's the important things that you have to do everywhere, for part of your practicing your songs. Yes, to be fair, there is times where, say if you're commuting to work, have a little practice of your songs. try and do it with a backing track, and then you can do it 3 or 4 times over, but at least then you're not being propped up by the other voice guiding you. So you feel more independent, you feel more confident in your own performance. But that's only a fraction of the practice you should be doing. And I don't mean the fraction as in you should be taking a long time. I would call that low quality practice just because you can't really be thinking and analysing that much. What I mean by high quality practice, it could actually be a lot less than what you'd normally do. It could be 20 minutes. 20 minutes of really high quality focused practice is worth more than repeating a song over and over for an hour. So it can save you time. It may take a wee bit of getting used to with being kind of mindful and analytical and quite strategic about what you're doing, but it really pays off dividends when you're trying to learn songs.